Hello, my fellow makeup enthusiasts. Welcome back to my perfectly healthy expression of makeup enthusiasm. My name is Lainey, and for today's video, imagine that Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner is holding a gun to my head and telling me that I gotta get rid of a bunch of eyeshadow palettes and I can only keep 10. So this is the premise of the video. It's purely for fun. And so when I first saw her video, I got the premise. What I did was I paused her video, I ran upstairs, I took stock of my entire eyeshadow collection, which is not that big if I'm being honest, but don't tell her that. And I wrote down the ones that I would keep. My answers actually changed a little bit when I started playing with some makeup because I tried to recreate a look that Annette did in her 10 looks 1 palette review, not review, but 10 looks 1 palette video of the Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson Conspiracy palette. So this is the look that I tried to recreate, and what do you think? Annette, what do you think? Tell me it's pretty, please tell me it's pretty. Anyway, I tried to do it once and it didn't turn out so well, and I realized that the reason it wasn't really working for me was because I didn't have, or I wasn't using, a really good matte royal purple. So one of my picks changed, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But just so you know, just so I don't say this every single time I pull out a palette, every single palette on this list, I absolutely love it. I absolutely recommend it. Most of them I have dedicated videos for. If I do, I will link it in the cards. If I run out of cards, I will link it down below. And for me, I made some rules that I was not allowed to pick recent releases. That is, I was not allowed to pick anything that has come out within maybe the past 2 months because I didn't want the novelty factor to influence whether or not I chose to keep it. And I also did not include anything that I've had for too long. In other words, expired shadow. So expired shadows were excluded from the list and brand new shadows were excluded from the list. Without further ado, you're sick of listening to me babble, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and get into the palettes that I chose. Number 1, Melt's Radioactive palette. I did a video on this. I really love the look that I came up with for this video. It's linked right here. And then outside of YouTube, I have been wearing this palette quite a bit. My only complaint is that this purple really is not good. I think it's called Hazmat. Hazmat is a turd. This is not a good shade. Every other shade in this palette works really well for me. I find it easy to work with. I find that the colors pop on my eyes. I love this palette. And for me, this is a standalone, but that's just me. It might not be a standalone for everybody, and that's okay. Okay, for the next palette, this is kind of a neutral palette. This is the Colourpop Sweet Talk palette. This came out in the spring of this year, and I felt like it was funny that this was a spring release because I get fall vibes from this palette. So I've actually been wearing this pretty often since the weather changed and Thanksgiving, Halloween, fall vibes. I've been reaching for this palette, and I want to talk about the pressed glitters, the elephant in the room. A lot of people hate pressed glitters, and I get that, but for me, in my experience, the pressed glitters that are in the palettes from Colourpop work beautifully. And these two made me fall in love with pressed glitters. And then I tried some other ones and realized, no, it's just the glitters in the palettes. The single glitters, the single pressed glitters from Colourpop, they suck. The glitters in the palette, for some reason, work really well for me. So I like this palette. I like the glitters. The shimmer shades in this palette are actually good. On my old ass eyelids, sometimes shimmer shades can add a really weird texture, especially the shimmer shades from Colourpop. These shimmers work really well for me, so good on ya, Sweet Talk. And then this palette also has some boring ass neutrals on the bottom row. Not that I ever wear neutrals, but just in case I lost my mind and decided to do a really true neutral look, Sweet Talk has me covered. So number 3 is a pick that I have in common with Annette because she has excellent taste. And it is Jeffree Star's Jawbreaker palette. Why did I pick this? This is why. I mean, look at it. It is such a good palette. My all-time favorite look that I have ever created for a YouTube video was using this palette. It's linked right here. So beautiful shade range, beautiful colors, fun palette, fun names, and easy to work with. Did I already say that? But that goes without saying for every palette. It's easy to work with. I'm not gonna pick a palette that I have to work too hard to make it work, because I'm just not a person who does that. I mean, if I have to pull out witchcraft to make something work on my eyes, and I have to use this brush and then add this mixing medium and then transfer the shade to this brush and then blend it out on, you know, a little paw palette and then add a little bit of another mixing medium and then add 2 more shades. Fuck that. No, you should just be able to dip your brush in and use an eyeshadow. And for this palette, you can do that. Wow, that was way too much information. I'm probably gonna cut it. Anyway, number 4 is the Violet Voss hashtag palette. Now, I have had this for almost 2 years, so it's almost time to actually repurchase this, even though I haven't hit pan on any of the shades, but I have used this quite a bit. I use this frequently when I'm not filming. I don't really talk about it on YouTube because it's old news, and I mean, makeup becomes old news the next day, and that's really something that annoys me a lot within the beauty community. But this palette is amazing. I awarded it Palette of the Year for 2018. It has these purples. This is actually a pretty good matte purple, but it's not the best. I'm gonna talk about the best in a minute. It has some nice yellowy, corally, orangey shimmers, and then it's got some boring ass neutrals that, again, I could reach for if I ever lost my mind. So speaking of the matte purple, I decided to keep the ABH Alyssa Edwards palette for one reason. I mean, it's beautiful and it's easy to work with, but the main reason that this made the 10 that are staying is because of this matte purple shade right here called Believe. When I was trying to create this eye look, I couldn't quite get it the way I wanted it until I used this purple. And it has a good yellow, it has a really good hot pink. Some of the other shades in here are kind of boring to me. Again, if I lose my mind and want to do a neutral look, this has me covered. A lot of neutrals made it into this. Why? Anyway, this palette is beautiful. I love Alyssa Edwards. I love Drag Race. She's from Texas. I'm from Texas. She's a dancer. I used to be a dancer before I got MS and got uncoordinated. So this palette is meaningful to me because of my love for Alyssa and because of this purple. And now we're gonna get a little bougie up in this bitch, and I am going to talk about Pat McGrath's Mothership 3 Subversive palette. Why am I keeping this? Is it because I'm a bougie bitch? Maybe a little bit, but mostly it's because these shadows really are as beautiful and special and stunning as the big influencers would have you believe. And that is a rare thing in the beauty community. How many times have you watched somebody rave about a new product and say it's everything, they're living for it, and then they never talk about it again? But maybe in the meantime, you went out and bought it, and then you're expecting it to change your life, and it's just kind of eh. These shadows really are everything that they're cracked up to be. So one thing that I have to rag on myself for is that I don't use this palette enough. Why not? Because I feel like it's made out of diamonds and like I'm this garbage person over here. And that was a reference to Theresa is Dead. I'm gonna wear my garbage person shirt in a future video because I just think that that's so funny. I totally relate. I totally feel like a garbage person half the time. So if you haven't seen Theresa, go check out her channel. I will also link Annette's channel. So, and definitely check her out. If you like colorful makeup, actually Annette and Theresa both do colorful makeup, so check them out. Anyway, this palette, why don't I reach for it more? What I'm going to do is I'm going to kick myself in the ass and I am going to make myself wear this palette tomorrow. Not because it's a chore, but because, again, I feel like it's made out of diamonds and I need to save it for a really special occasion. No occasion is special enough to warrant Pat McGrath. I think the last time I wore it was Christmas Eve. I know that I've worn it since then, but I felt like Christmas Eve was special enough. But bitch, you can wear fancy shadows every day. So tomorrow, you and me, we gonna play. Number 7, Juvia's Place Zulu. Now, I picked this for an emotional reason. This palette just makes me happy. If I'm feeling kind of blue and just a little blah, if I put on this eyeshadow, it is like Prozac on the eyelids. It's Prozac in a palette, and I don't mean to make light of that. Some people really do need Prozac, and if you need it and you take it, good on you. But all I'm saying is that this just makes me really, really happy, and I have a logical reason for keeping this around as well. This yellow shade right here, if I'm in the if I'm in the mood to wear a yellow blush, I use this shadow. When I first noticed that people were putting yellow on their cheeks as blush, I was like, what the fuck? No, wait, that's kind of cool. And so I tried it, and I tried it with this shade, and I really liked it, and I still do it from time to time. I actually ordered the Likely Makeup Clown Blush palette because it had a yellow, but honestly, I gotta say, even though the Clown Blush palette, I've had too much caffeine. The Clown Blush palette is fine, it's good quality. I like the Zulu yellow better. So if I'm gonna use a yellow blush, I'm gonna use this. So this is a happy eyeshadow palette and a blush palette all in one, so it stays. The next palette is something that I have in common with Annette. That is the Paulina palette from Blush Tribe. Now, obviously, Paulina is awesome. Linking her channel as well, go check her out. I'm keeping this palette because this has some of the best green shadows that I've ever used in my life. Now, I'm not a person who craves green eyeshadow all the time. In fact, I don't wear it very often, but when I do, this is my baby. And then I've got pinks and purples in here, and you know I love pinks and purples so much. This purple almost sufficed for my good matte purple, but it's more of a plummy purple than a royal purple, and that's why I went ahead and included the Alyssa Edwards palette. But oh my gosh, you guys, this palette, the quality, the ease of use, everything is so good. I just, so happy that I have this. And then we have a personal favorite of mine that doesn't get much play on YouTube, but it is the Moschino Sephora laptop palette. I did a whole review of this. I did 5 looks with this. I was really proud of that. So this is special to me because it was a birthday present from my mother, who is a computer programmer, so I thought that that was the most appropriate gift ever. But the main reason that I'm keeping this in my collection, even though with a lot of the other shades, I've got that pretty much covered with my other palettes, it's for the metallics, and I'm gonna swatch them. Okay, lights, please work with me. Okay, I mean, come on! Look at that reflect. We've got my favorite silver in the world, we've got this icy blue, and we've got a gold. I don't wear gold shadow that much, but when I do, I wear this. I mean, look at it on my fingers, look at it on my hand. Metallics alone. These metallics are from another universe. They're so good. And so laptop stays for sentimental reasons and for metallic reasons. And we are almost to the end. I think I actually managed to keep this on the short side. We'll find out in the editing process. The last palette that I'm keeping because I had a thought. I was like, what would I do if I needed to travel? Say I'm going on an impromptu road trip and I need a really teeny tiny palette that I can just throw in my purse. Well, fortunately, I have a very teeny tiny and very beautiful palette by Viseart. This is the Petite Pro Soleil palette. It's got all of my colors. This is a pretty good purple, but it's not quite as good as the purple from the ABH Alyssa Edwards palette. It's got this color. Okay, I'm gonna swatch this one too. I mean, this one is so pretty, and it looks like it would be a topper, but it's not. This shadow will stand on its own, and it looks really good with green eyes. We've got this kind of orangey coral shimmer, we've got this hot pink, we've got yellow, and then we've got a couple of neutrals, but I'll forgive it for that because it's so teeny and so cute. And And I believe that this one is a standalone palette. I feel like even for a normal person, not me, this would be a standalone palette. So if you haven't checked out these Viseart mini palettes, I believe they're on sale right now. Go check them out. I should also mention that every single palette that I talked about in this video is still available, and most of them, because it's extended Cyber Monday still as I'm filming this, are massively on sale. So go check them out. They will all be linked in the description box down below. And I think, so then, no, that doesn't quite wrap it up for today. I want to encourage you one more time to please go check out Annette's channel. She's excellent at colorful makeup. Her looks are so creative and they're so pretty. They're creative and pretty at the same time, and not a lot of people can pull that off. Plus, she's super sweet. She always responds to my comments. I appreciate that so much. So she's a cool person, does great makeup, and a sweetheart. So go check her out for sure. So that does wrap it up for today. As always, thank you so very much for joining me. Follow me on Instagram. I will follow you back. Throw me a pity like, give me some encouragement to make some more videos. Very special shout out to you if you are watching this video on the toilet. And until next time, stay adorably obsessed with makeup, but shop responsibly, and stay tuned for my makeup use disorder video.